One more game for the evening here for the North American Overwatch Open. It has been our first day and it has been a wild ride so far. We've seen upsets in Europe. We've seen Dan DDK operate on 2 hours sleep, and all round we've had a good time. Talking of the devil, he is giggling, and I am your host, Alex Machine Richardson, but I'm joined by two men in black shirts, which we did not synchronize. That's what's so crazy, is just, you know, day one here of the Overwatch Open, and we've found synergy already. Now TSM and SODIPOP is about to go down. And gentlemen, this does promise to be another, I don't want to say one-sided affair, because we presented that with LG. You know, we said that LG Selfless was going to be a very much it was an uphill struggle for Selfless, despite them having some exciting premises and some strong individuals. On a mechanical basis, LG were going to win. Now we've thought of this one, it's TSM SODIPOP. Is there a similar comparison here? It's a quarterfinal. They both showed that they're competent players. I'm still leaning towards TSM in this one.
This one is definitely a much, much closer match to call. I think TSM and SODIPOP are, well, we've said that a lot actually tonight, especially in the EU side of things, but there's a reason we say that about teams that get to the quarterfinals. They're both teams that are just on the cusp of breaking into the quote-unquote top 4 or 5 teams in the region, and they're both teams with a point to prove. What we're going to see, maybe not necessarily as much star power pulling in like we have with our Genjis, like we have with Seagull. But what we will see is a higher consistent level of teamwork, and I actually think it's going to be very close between the two teams, coming down possibly to who's actually picked a map first, and who. When the losing team picks a map, are we going still with payload? Are we going to a King of the Hill? It's going to come down to mentality and, frankly, what they add for breakfast.
I'm actually glad you said Hollywood, map, because Hollywood is our first map. Now, Dan, you did just witness Hollywood. You've seen it time and time again. Does seem to be a very favored map. Is there anything you've drawn away from these Hollywood games? It seems like some teams are breaking through a lot quicker on the first point.
More Junkrat. Needs more Junkrat.
Needs more Junkrat.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we saw from Seagull. I mean, you made the point earlier that you were surprised, or not necessarily that you were surprised, but just that maybe it's a bit weird that there's less Junkrats around, at least for the very first point. Seagull did that and showed us exactly why it is so powerful. Yep. And so if we don't see more of that, I will be a little bit surprised.
I guess the counter to that is Zarya, right? You just pop up a Zarya, throw some shields on people.
I really wanted to see that transition, and I'm a little bit sad that didn't happen. We tend to see a lot of heroes in competitive Overwatch you don't always see in pub games. So, for example, we just saw a game on Numbani. It is very common in pub games for Torbjorn to pop up and put the turrets there because pros have been able to make it work. But when you see pro games on Numbani in this particular patch, in this meta, I think I've seen 4 or 5 games. That was the first one where we actually had Torb. Exactly. Because the new meta and the new hero combinations have been so powerful that there isn't space for a Torb in the lineup, and Seagull was actually the first player that I've seen to do that, admittedly, you know, in the last couple of days, but I've seen a few games of Overwatch. And that's what's really interesting, because he also sticked with Junkrat, quote-unquote old meta, on Hollywood as well.
Dude, it's a new patch, it's a new world, it's a new dawn, and of course everything
Seagull didn't get the memo.
Shifting, and he certainly still found victory. Still, the map is Hollywood, and it's time to see how TSM and SODIPOP does go down. Let's get into things.
All right, so when you see that composition, what have we got for ourselves over here? So anything too surprising? Obviously, there is always the troll potential, so you don't jump the gun.
Yeah, exactly right. Nothing too surprising at the moment. We have got a Reaper on both sides, actually. So Nicholas on Reaper on one side, and we have Agilities on the other. Harblue is going to be playing Roadhog, which is always fun. I would absolutely love to see some face wrecked with a couple of good hooks from above, especially on the second point, so keep an eye out for that.
One of the worrying things is always the ability to build a lot of meter for your opponents with Roadhog, so hopefully we can see some good play to prevent that as well as they go in. It looks like he's going to be leading the charge. They're just tossing in the right clicks there with Roadhog trying to get the damage in and go for the harassment. And SODIPOP looking for their way in, and looks like actually we're going to get the hooks coming in from up high or from the side there, which would be very, very good. Start isolating some players and taking them down, and meanwhile we have a really solid hold here from TSM, just picking off the brunt of the attack as we actually get their Roadhog coming in with a couple frags, finally allowing himself to be visible, making his way from the flank. We didn't catch it on screen, but that was the play there that actually got SODIPOP on top of that payload.
Yep, and for anybody wondering, hang on a second, who are TSM and why haven't we seen them them around, it's because they picked up the team formerly known as Code 7. The announcement was made as recently as yesterday. So if you're taking a look on your screen now, you have the red team on the right-hand side. They are going to be TSM facing off against SODIPOP, who I would argue in terms of results are maybe ever so slightly below TSM/Code 7, but really not far off at all.
Well, we've got TSM then with the good start. Trying to battle against what we have seen as the standard strategy here, just holding the high ground there for the defensive side. SODIPOP trying to keep that high ground working in for them, and they're able to discard some of the attacks there from the flank. Looking pretty good there, but the problem is they have to be able to drop down to stop the payload from moving. Yeah,
exactly. And SODIPOP, again, are doing a very, very good job of keeping up above. TSM's strategy here, by the way, is we're going to cede the high ground and just keep a shield to prevent them from shooting down at us, force them to collapse, and get the payload moving as quickly as we can.
So far, it does look like having some good work done here from TSM, making the action happen. As you can see the follow-up there from the McCree, able to basically just take down the Reaper as he had his tail between legs, was trying to retreat, but there shall be no retreat. And that is a very fast second checkpoint picked up there by TSM.
Yeah, exactly right. They barely, I think they're like, in fact, they're under 2.5 minutes at the moment. So this could end up being a very, very quick pickup from TSM. If they're able to complete this map in under 4 minutes, that's going to be absolutely disgusting. And I love how Torque, who, by the way, on maps like Numbani, is a Torbjorn player. He will be moving very, very far forward with McCree, looking to get individual pickoffs long before the team fight begins.
Serious, man. He's got somewhere to be.
Yeah, exactly. There's a reason the guy in the car is the VIP, and it's not because he likes waiting around. But right now, SODIPOP are giving them a lot of respect. They're not trying to collapse into the tunnel. They're waiting for them to come out into the open. Both Reinhardts have a little bit of a headache, rushing into each other there, unfortunately. And D.Va is going to be able to take up both Joe Meister and Torque. So two very big pickups there, thanks to the self-destruct.
It was actually quite funny watching Torque, like, how do I avoid this? How do I escape? Can I hide under the car? But there was no hiding from that one, unfortunately, for him. No. And in light of that self-destruct, that's a little glimmer of hope there. Maybe some light at the end of the tunnel that they can retake the payload. But no, TSM straight back on it. We've got the Roadhog there, popping the ultimate. And that is going to be a very fast take of Hollywood. That does not bode well for SODIPOP.
I have that as 3 minutes, 38 seconds. That's kind of disgusting.
Damn.
That is fast, very fast. Possibly not the fastest in history, but that is fast enough to give teams an awful lot of pause right now. So TSM coming out of the gate, absolutely all fists swinging. And I'm going to call out Torque. I think his McCree play has been fantastic. But you know what? I'm still keen on Harblu and his supporting off-tank role, especially when he goes and plays the likes of Roadhog. When he's defending, I think we'll see that a little more. I'm looking out for him on the rooftops, hooking people up, for example, just picking individual heroes off. On the side of SODIPOP, I have yet to see anything that stands out as, yes, I want more of this.
Yeah, oh no, and I love how you mentioned the Roadhog there, because Roadhog can be so hard to make work in a lot of situations, but the timing that he found to actually push in there on the side was really perfect, and of course executed from a mechanical perspective, the hooks, and got the 2 franks to enable them to actually take the first point. But that wasn't really where the problem was for SODIPOP. I was surprised that it felt like they were a little bit off when it came to that high ground control on the second portion. They had the high ground control, but it felt like they just allowed TSM to just gain too much ground. They didn't drop down and contest it more quickly enough. I'm not sure how you think that went, but...
No, I agree. TSM's strategy was very, very simple there. They were keep the shield up, force them to come on down. We're just going to get the payload moving as much as possible. And SODIPOP weren't necessarily expecting that. That kind of brought them into a, oh dear, we're going to have to drop down and engage now. And TSM were ready for it.
Right,
so
right.
It meant a pretty fair fight. And TSM are an extremely skilled team. And when you get to the point where you can eliminate their high ground advantage, that's when they're going to be at their best.
I like how you put that. It's a fair fight. Yeah, you don't want to catch them. You don't want them to have a fair fight. That's,
you want unfair fights, man. That's what Overwatch is all about. Engineering the unfair fight. So we'll see how SODIPOP can do that on attack.
All right, let's see if they can indeed. They got the first push coming in now, and no Torbjorn for this first point from Torque, unfortunately. But we'll have to see if he can keep the awesome McCree action up, because he was pretty fun to watch in the previous half. We can see, pretty standard stuff coming in from SODIPOP, just working their way around. Actually going in the front here, pretty much straight up with the boost there on Lucio.
And yeah, I mean, the speed boost onto point is great, but it's the sustain once you get on there that is going to be the most important point. Nicholas now moving on up, actually getting 3 kills there, picking up Grim Reality at the end, and wow, even getting a contributing kill onto the Reinhardt. That's a very, very strong start for them. And SODIPOP, considering that this is basically a sub 4-minute time they have to beat, they are not going to like it. They're more or less a minute in already, and they are no closer to taking the first point. If they get wiped a second time, it's almost already mathematically impossible.
Yeah, that was looking pretty good for them until Nicholas was just like, nope, sorry guys, this is not for you. Not yet, at least, as the push comes in. That's really bad news because he's going to build that ult up, and there's a lot of spots for him to get some good Death Blossoms off here, especially with all the chaos that his teammates can provide. And here we go. These close quarters definitely going to be favorable there for Nicholas as well. And we've got Talk up on the Deadeye now as well, so things getting progressively more difficult, I would say, for SODIPOP.
Indeed they are. Wow, in a very confined place, by the way, moving forward with the Reinhardt shield up the stairs. TSM looking for those individual kills to pop off on SODIPOP. Spotting Zenyatta, getting Zenyatta. Goodbye, buddy. That is not going to do you any good at all. 1 minute and 40 seconds elapsed now, and we are starting to reach the point where it won't really be possible to take.
Yeah, it's looking very grim indeed. And look at Nicholas there. He is just playing the baits game. His teammates are baiting for him. He's looking for the perfect moment. Oh no, this could be disastrous. Death Blossom, there it is. And he's going to take down pretty much everybody. 4 kills for Mr. Nicholas with the Reaper.
There's something amusing about him killing Grim Reality with that, because that is exactly what SODIPOP are facing right now. 2 minutes and 10 seconds left to go, 3 minutes 38. Technically, it's another minute 20 before we call the GG, but this payload is not getting pushed.
Oh yeah, it's just the fact that we could see that coming from a mile away, and there it is. I think that was I wouldn't say rage quit, but this is over.
Yeah, absolutely. So they are the GGs, and SODIPOP are going to seed the map. TSM are going to go 1-0 up. So the former Code 7 really shining here. SODIPOP have been desperately trying to break into the top tier for a while. They've had some notable, but not necessarily like first, second place results in online cups and stuff like that. And right now, I have to say, that was more one-sided than I thought it would be.
Yeah, and I mean, they had some good opportunities right at the first push before we saw, any ultimates really come into play. But the problem was Nicholas coming in. He had some great movement in the engagement, able to get the 2 kills. I think he managed to get a 3rd with an assist as well. And then from that point forwards, when the ultimate started building, it looked a lot more confident for TSM. They didn't really give up anything. And you could see also Nicholas is getting good engagement after good engagement. And I mean, SODIPOP didn't really find a way, like a play that worked. I don't think there was anything that was particularly strong for them there.
Yeah, they needed, I think really they needed to focus on their initiations and try and stop the point of TSM's attacks. They weren't really able to get in there. They didn't, for example, disable a tank very early on in the fight. They allowed Talk to get up in their face with the McCree, and were just kind of focused on that. And as a result, they weren't really paying attention to what was going on behind. I feel like everything TSM was doing was, I guess in a way, was kind of standard, but it felt like they were one step ahead of SODIPOP there.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And will it be the same story in Map 2? SODIPOP, will they allow TSM to create a whitewash situation? Well, we'll have to find out, because first, a quick break. We'll see you very soon.